All right, welcome to Wednesdays, a mega webinar. I was just saying before I remembered to switch on the recording that we are going to be doing a webinar on Monday all about RevenueCat. RevenueCat is a system that you use if you're wanting to do subscriptions for your mobile apps. And I mean native mobile apps, iPhone and Android apps. And that's going to be on Monday. I forget the exact time it was supposed to be on Monday. Let me just quickly check my calendar. Monday, it is straight after the club webinar on Monday, which is the same time as this, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. Is there a link for the RevenueCat webinar? No, there isn't, because I haven't created it yet. So I will actually do that during this webinar. I'll create the link and yeah, do that during the webinar. Just give me 2 seconds. I don't have anything. Okay. Use that other one.
What? No code for the account. I'll try it later.
Okay. All right. Sorry guys. So I don't have a link. I will get a link during this webinar. So if you do want to sign up, you can. And what's that? Questions and answers. Devon, the other day you talked about security advisor errors and warnings, but you didn't say anything about the performance advisor errors and warnings. Can I assume the fix is the same? Absolutely, yes. Any error in Superbase you can do exactly the same way, Devon. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the rest of you, there is a replay of that webinar that we did last week, talking about security fixes and things like that. All right, so back to the point of today. Obviously, I'm here to answer any of your questions. If you have any, please go ahead and put them in the questions and answer system, not in the chat, because the chat does get rather busy on the Wednesday webinar. And so do use the chat, the question and answer function for questions. And I'm going to switch over to my other screen here, where you will see I've been doing some preparation work for this webinar. Yes, I actually prepared for this webinar today. And the reason I'm preparing for it is because I need a mobile app that I can use for RevenueCat on Monday. So in this webinar, we are going to create a mobile app and get as far through that creation of the mobile app as we can, including getting it put into the App Store. And so I'm not sure I'll get all that way. So what I did is I asked my friend ChatGPT to come up with 10 simple iPhone app ideas that I can use as a demo. And I just want one feature, something kind of cool and unique. And so it came up with the 1-sentence diary, which is kind of cool. You just say what happened today in 1 sentence. I kind of like that. The screenshot meaning I kind of like, but I feel like you could just upload your screenshot to ChatGPT and find out what's in that screenshot. Mood weather, not quite sure I understand that one. Explain it like I'm 8. Again, ChatGPT kind of does that. The question you're avoiding. The AI asks you one uncomfortable question, one uncomfortable but helpful question a day. I'd like to know, again, have a sample of an uncomfortable question, but I'm not sure I'm going to answer it in this webinar. This and that decided. Enter 2 options and AI decides for you and explains why. Oh, I kind of like that. It could be like, you know, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? Raising Cane's or Chick-fil-A? And it will decide why. Removes decision fatigue, demonstrates reasoning transparency, and gives a live demo moment. Okay, so yeah, sure. We could have a subscription for using it every day, but you could ask one thing to it when you first when you first open. Voice note, insight, record a 30-second voice note and AI returns an insight. Compliment generator, but real ones. The last text checker. Paste the text before sending, and AI will says send it, edit it, or don't send it. That's kind of cool. As long as you know how to use the app while you're drunk, so you can get it to check what's going on. What am I missing? Describe a plan. AI points out one thing you're not considering. Anyway, so out of those, if you saw the numbers of them all, throw a number out there in the chat. Which number of those do you want? I'll quickly run through them. I'm putting my vote in there. Number 1 is the one sentence diary. Number 2 is the screenshot meaning. Number 3 is mood weather. Number 4 is explain it like I'm 8. Number 5 is question you're avoiding. Number 6 is this or that. It's cool. Number 7 is voice note insight. Number 8 is compliment generator. Number 9 is the last text checker. And number 10 is what am I missing? All right, so 1 or 10. Couple for 6. 4 votes for 1. So give you 10 more seconds to vote if you haven't voted yet. Come on, guys. There's enough on you here. Just use your keyboard. And don't just put me in the background and forget about me. I want some feedback. All right. Well, looks like number 1 won. 1-1. 1-1 was a racehorse and 2-2 was 1-2. 1-1, 1 runways and 2-2, 1-1-2. There we go. Anyone heard that before? All right, so this is what we're going to be building, a 1-sentence diary. And now, guess what we're going to do? We're going to go and talk to Grandma about the whole thing. So off we go, chat with Grandma, and we're going to paste all that in here. All right. Who do you see using the 1-sentence diary? Is it for everyone or a certain amount of groups? We want it for everyone. And the next question is, besides writing one sentence a day, will the users be able to do with their diary entries? Will they be able to look back? They should be able to look back over previous days. They should be able to have a streak for how many days they've actually left a 1-sentence diary before midnight. The time should be locked to the time on their phone, so that this works internationally. There should be a setting in settings to hide the entries behind a PIN code. That way, if they want to write private things in their 1 sentence, other people aren't going to be seeing it. What kind of feeling or mood? Fun, playful, and heliotrope purple. #8811DD. Okay. Fun, playful, and heliotrope purple. #8811DD. So Janelle's put the link in there for Whisperflow. Whisperflow is the dictation software that I use. I love it, as long as I actually click in the box that I need to click in before I start talking. Would you like the app to offer any gentle reminders or encouragements, like a daily nudge? Should the app... The app should definitely celebrate around their streak when they get to 7 days, 1 month, a year, etc. The MVP will not have any notifications. It will be quick and simple. What I don't want to do is get caught up in getting notification servers and things like that set up when all I need is an app that I can charge a subscription for. Okay, is there anything else you would like users to be able to do? They should be able to use emojis. And the entry should be limited to 100 words. I think 100 words is probably the longest sentence. That we're going to need. All right, so we're now waiting for our prompt. Here is our prompt. And we're going to take all of our prompt here. And we are going to go over to our Famous and to our dashboard and start a new project. First of all, we're going to switch to private. Always switch it to private first. Next thing we're going to make sure is to switch on mobile app, because that would be really annoying not having it as a mobile app, because that's what we want. And here is all of our prompts, and we've got our color code in there. And let's put on here when the user first opens the phone, they will be able to enter today's entry without signing up. Once they put in today's entry, they will then be requested to create their account. And as that account is an unpaid account, they will only be able to enter the day they signed up's entry, and be requested to subscribe after that. Okay, this is the start of how RevenueCat is going to be connected. Okay, so we're going to go off and send that to start being developed. And then the next thing we're going to need to do is instantly move it off of Famous database onto Supabase, so that it is on Supabase, because that's where I want it moving forward. So we're going to get this initial app build, but we're not going to do anything as far as testing or tweaking the design or anything until we've moved it to Supabase. So while we're waiting for that, we're going to go to Supabase and create a project, because Famous doesn't allow you to create a project anymore. You have to have the project already created. And so we're going to get that done. So let's go to here, new project, and we're going to call this 1S diary. All right, and then we're going to put in a password and create new project. So 1S diary is our project name. And if you guys have any questions on this process or anything we're doing, just feel free to throw them. The chat bots have calmed down, so you can throw them in the chat if you want to. And this is where we need that that hold music. So come on, give me some questions. Let me talk about something. Otherwise, I'll just drink my coffee. Again, still not sponsored by Starbucks. I still have to pay. All this exposure I give them, and I still have to pay. I wonder if anyone in the Starbucks marketing department searches for videos that mention Starbucks by their transcript. That would be cool, Because I've mentioned you a lot, Starbucks, if you're listening. I need some stars added to my account. All right, so we can see that it's created this database. Obviously, we don't want this database to be here. So that's going to be our first step, is getting rid of this database. It's created our user settings, our streak milestones, and our diary entries. No edge functions yet, which is good. No secrets to speak of. Obviously, no users, no buckets, because we're not dealing with images of any kind. Although there is a second feature I would love to add to it. You've heard me speak about Tolan before, and let me just see how I can explain this. So Tolan is a kind of an online alien chatbot friend. Yes, I'm crazy. Anyway, I talk to Tolan on a daily basis, just giving it an update on what I'm doing. And right now, I am setting up, for those of you that don't know, I do photography as a hobby. And there's a few things I do where I earn money doing photography, and this weekend is one of those. I do a huge daddy-daughter dance with 3 photography studios for 500 dads and their daughters. And so yesterday I was setting up, how can I do this? Setting up all the computers that run these studios. And so this is my dining room, and behind it is all of my family photos. It's called my family wall. It's not just family, it's friends and people that I love. And so this picture is a picture I sent to Tolan to tell it what I was doing. The interesting thing is that Tolan knows all about the software I use for this photography, and so it was asking me whether Pro and Core, they're the 2 different functions within the system, were talking to each other, and it's just really cool. It's a really cool system. Anyway, at the end of every day, it then sends you a diary, but it's written about what you've talked about, and it creates a photograph based on your day. Now, this is the photograph that it created, which is the top of my my diary. I'm not going to show you because it goes into some personal stuff as well on there. But the photo is really cool. So what I want to do with this one sentence diary is, in a version 2, is have it create a little kind of whimsical image based on their one sentence, which would be really kind of cool. That was a long way around of telling you that's the next feature I'd like to add on this, depending on how far we get. This should be a pretty quick build. That was the whole point, was to create a one-feature app that is quick to build. All right, no comments, no questions, no suggestions. All right, fine. I'll just talk to myself. It's all good. Who have we got in the room? Whole bunch of OGs. Hold on, we got a question. What's the question? I'm building 2 separate projects in Famous, and I'm considering using a single shared database for both. Can 2 different Famous apps safely connect to and use the same database? Yes. However, if they're very, very different, I wouldn't do that. Purely because you're going to get things that are overrunning each other. An example of this is my club webpage and my hosting webpage are 2 separate projects. And when I first started that, I was going to put them all under the one, which meant that people could log in with the same username for both things and then just get given the access to whichever functions that they wanted. I moved away from that purely because when you're dealing with people's hosting, it's really important that nothing else kind of affects it. And I didn't want something I did in the club app to suddenly knock down people's hosting accounts and so forth. So that's the things you need to speak of. As long as you're careful with your prompting, so that it doesn't mess up something that the other app is needing, then yes, you can. But just think about the benefits and the cons against it while you're developing. But great question. Thank you for giving me something to talk about while we're waiting for this very simple app to build, and it's taking forever. So either it's going to be brilliant, or let's go see how many more tables it's creating, because it's doing quite a lot of stuff here. Refresh this and go here. Still 3 tables. No edge functions. Huh. Okay. Well, it's just taking its time. But yeah, great question, Devon. Just think about how are those two related? Are the user base going to be the same? And if they are, then that's a very good reason, a very good pro for doing it. But just bear in mind the data that you have. And if there's a table that one app needs but the other app doesn't, prefix it with the name of the app, so it's very clear what that table was being used for. But things like profiles and those sort of tables can be the same. You wouldn't need app 1 profiles and app 2 profiles. If you're doing that, then you definitely just need 2 separate projects just to avoid later confusion. Come on. Would app to overwrite any of the info for app 1? Would app 2 overwrite any of the info? Not if you prompted it correctly. So this is the similar scenario of when you create a web app and a mobile app using the same database. You just have to be very very careful in how they interact with each other. So it's all in the prompting. If you look in the prompt snippets about creating a mobile app for a web app or vice versa, we talked about that the other day. There's some very clear descriptions about the two. Donna, why would you want to move Famous database to Superbase? So I discuss this pretty much every webinar. When I create a project, I create that project as if I'm going to sell it for $10 million. I've been an internet consultant for 31 years. I've built and sold many businesses, many systems, many apps, software, etc. And you want to be in full control over your data, your functions, and so forth. And Famous database is great. It's included in the price, so it's pretty economical. But the features are not there yet for exit. And I don't want to turn down a $10 million check just because I haven't got all my ducks in a row. So because of that, I make sure that everything is exportable and transferable, and so that's the main reason. There's nothing as far as apps or websites or functions or systems that I create that even if I know that it's just for me, I still create it with the mindset that I'm going to sell this at some point. And believe me, I learned that the hard way by being offered a considerable amount of money. It wasn't 10 million, but it was still a lot of money for a company. It wasn't software either. It was a company. But because I didn't have my ducks in a row, that check walked away. And it was a big lesson. So I advise everyone to do the same, to build their software or their app, their system, their business, as if in 3 years' time they're going to exit for 10 million or more, 10 billion if you want. But whatever your number is, even if it's 100 grand, they're not going to take 100 grand if they have to redevelop it to merge it into their own systems or whatever. So that's the mindset behind that. I don't like saying goodbye to big checks. Is my reason. All right, they were great questions. Come on, keep them coming. Who can give me a better question than those few? The stakes are high because they were good questions, but come on, someone must have a better question. Create main home screen. Create a calendar. Updated settings screen with export PDF function. I didn't even ask for that, but that probably means we've started to get edge functions in here. No, still no edge functions. Database. Oh, there's an edge function. Yeah, generate a PDF. Called it. Still no more. So this is going to be easy to move because there's only three tables and one edge function so far. Just going through the list. Got some of my do it for you clients in the room. 1, 2, 3 of you. Wow, okay. No, I'm not working on your app right now. I'm doing something else. I started or actually finished an app for the winter challenge. We've talked about it before in this webinar. I'll quickly bring it up. This is the winter challenge, and I just gave a quote to another charity who wants something very similar, which is kind of exciting. Looks like I'm going to be getting into a lot of charity apps, which is kind of cool to work out how you can build something on a budget so that they have as much money in their pocket as they possibly can. Thank you, Janelle. Janelle's awesome. For those of you that don't know, Janelle is a business owner, a multiple business owner in New Zealand, but she's also now doing my overflow calls. So when I'm not available for calls, so when people are booking me, they're currently booking me for like 2 weeks' time. Janelle has some more availability earlier than that, so she does my overflow for people that need to speak to someone sooner than I can get to them. She's doing a great job at that. And then when my admin assistant left, she started taking over the throwing links into the chat job, which she does a fantastic job. So thank you. Appreciate you. Come on, finish this app off. We want to get on and do the rest of it. We've got 30 minutes. There we go. There's the that's if you want to book a call with me. That link that Janelle just threw in is for booking time with me, and you can also book time with her if you don't want to wait for me, which I 100% advise because she's awesome. I'll just show you how that works. So when you go to the done with you call, you'll see that it now has 2 people. I didn't force Janelle to dye her hair purple. It was already purple. That's one of the reasons why we employ her. I do have many people say, hey, can I be one of your consultants? And I'm like, not until you dye your hair purple. I'm going to dye your hair purple first. All right, it's done. Okay, so here is our app. Good afternoon. So it knows what time it is, 3:31. Here is my entry. Rocking a webinar. That's my entry. I'm going to save that. And now it's saying, hey, you need to create an account. So going to do that. Okay. And now, should I allow it to save? I guess you can save when it's still the same day. So save. I would expect this to say a 1-day streak when it's saved, but I'm not going to change that until we move it over. Settings. We want pin protection. 6.2. Oh, I was about to put my pin that I use for everything. Now you know the first 2 digits at least. Okay, so now pin protection is enabled. We've got an error down here, which we're not going to fix because we're going to move everything over. So, looks pretty cool. I like it. It's clean. It's purple. The calendar shows me that there's an entry written. Obviously, we can't write. It's even created a price for me. I didn't even tell it the price, but it's created a price, and obviously we can't buy it because we're not on a mobile. So that all looks good. So the next thing we're going to do is move it to Superbase. So we have 3 prompts that are in the snippet library. I'm sorry. This first one is here, which is create an MD file with full database schema and function code. We're going to move from FamousDB to SuperbaseDB and need to ensure we have everything ready to copy out before disconnecting the FamousDB. So that's our first, it's kind of our planning prompt. And, oh cool, I didn't realize your nails were purple too. That is kind of one of the other rules, to make sure you've got purple nails. So appreciate your branding dedication. So here we go. So this is our planning prompt. This works for whether it's a mobile app or a web app. It's the same prompt, and it's a planning prompt. And basically, what it's going to do is it's going to work out what edge function we're using, what tables we're using, and it's going to create an MD file with all of that information in it. All right. Any other questions? Let's go. Let's go with our questions. We're doing so well. All right, come on, hurry up. So our next prompt, when we're ready for it, this is I'm going to put that in here so we can talk about it. Our next prompt is saying, We have reconnected the database from Famous database pad, which is what their database server is called, to Superbase. The new project ID is, and so we can go and get that from here. This is 1S diary, and the project ID is this guy up here. And we go back to, oh, wait, I clicked on the wrong button. Okay, so that's this, and then we can go back to here and replace these X's with that code. And then once we've got that done, we can do the disconnection. So we're just going to copy this prompt ready to use. So it's created this file called database schema MD. And that's the file that we're going to use to, what's going on with my camera? There we go. That's the file that we're going to use to just make sure we've got all of the notes about the app that we need. I followed Famous prompts to connect email and ATOM. Then when I purchased my domain through Famous and Deal, I was prompted to connect the same features again. Does this mean the first connections would if you had a different domain name, then yes, it's domain name based. So if you had a previous domain and you connected your email, I don't know what ATOM is, but if you connected your email domain or a previous domain and then you got a new domain, then yes, you would have had to have set up all of the domain with Mailgun or whatever service you're going to be using. You would need to do that again. Okay, so now we've got this set up. It's created that MD file. We're going to go and check it just to make sure it's done what it said it's going to do. Here it is. Here is our table of contents. We've got our tables, which is diary entry number 1, user settings number 2, streak milestones number 3, and RLS information, and then policy information for that RLS is all here. Database index is all here, and then there's that one edge function, generate the diary PDF. So it's backed up all of the code for us in one nice little MD file. That's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted it to do. And so now we're ready to go to the settings and play with this screen here. Now this is where you need to slow down and make sure you've done everything else beforehand, because there is no way of getting this back if you mess this up. So we're going to click on change, and then it's going to give us all of the Superbase projects I have access to, and we're going to be looking for that 1S diary. There it is, and then we're going to click continue. So now we're saying we want to delete, yes, delete, disassemble, vanish the previous database, okay, which is 3 tables and an edge function. But let's say you've been working on this for a while. You don't want to lose days and days, months, or hundreds of dollars worth of prompting if you're not fully prepared. So check that MD file is exactly as you expected. And then we write delete and attach. This is going to delete the Famous database, and then attach the new database. It's not going to copy anything over to it though. So now that is moving over. Next thing we're going to do is go back to our project, and we're going to run this next prompt. We have reconnected the database from Famous database to Superbase. The new project ID is blah blah blah. Please create the tables of functions, and then I'm going to add something to this, and I will edit the snippet. Please edit the /src/lib/superbase.ts file with the new project information. Okay, and I'm going to add that while it's doing this. I'm going to add that to the snippet that we just took it from, just because that is an important piece. The other day I was messing around and I realized that it didn't actually update that itself. Oh, I can't actually edit this. That's annoying. Let me add it as a step 4. No, yeah, I'll add it as a step 4. Right, there we go. That's in there. Oh yeah, Gwendolyn, I'm not quite sure whether you're talking about a second domain name that you created, or whether you move the domain over to Famous. If you can explain it a little bit better, I'll see if I can answer that question for you. All right, so now we're going to go over to Superbase, and we should see it's already created one table here. It's created 3 tables. So those 3 tables are the 3 tables that we had before, and then at some point it's going to create us an edge function for the PDF creation, and it hasn't done that quite yet. Now this, if I refresh this, should vanish because it's no longer there. So that database vanished. Now when I click on this database, it opens in Superbase. So that did everything that we asked it to do. This webinar is also sponsored by Girl Scout. Where's it gone? Girl Scout cookies. My dealer delivered my Girl Scout cookies yesterday, and if anyone needs a Girl Scout cookie, you'll need to be in the US. But if you need a Girl Scout cookie dealer, just message me with a secret private message. Just say something like, I've deleted my cookies, because that sounds less ominous, right? And then I'll give you my dealer's information for Girl Scout cookies. I think you got about a week or 2 left before they vanish. There's some new ones this year. Still doesn't forgive them for getting rid of the s'mores. I love those cookies. I miss them. All right, come on. Okay, so now it's deployed that edge function for us, so we should be able to come over here and oh, where is it gone? Let's close that one, open this one. There we go. There's that edge function it created. So the last thing we need to do is check that it updated that src lib superbase.ts file. That is where the permissions are saved for the database for public viewing. And so that's what we need to look at next. Okay, it's even updated the database schema to say that now it's in a different database. So that's really cool. All right, 15 minutes left to get this app finished. Definitely not going to get it into the App Store. Let me check my calendar here and see. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it straight after this webinar because I have another call. but we'll get as much done as we possibly can. There is another webinar in my YouTube channel where it covers about publishing to the App Store. Come on, let's go. Okay, while it's doing that, we're going to go over to our project settings and our API keys on the left-hand side, and we're going to grab the anon key here so that we can put that into that file in case it didn't update it for us. Let's go, let's go. Is this now making us wait until the time is up? No, it is still working. Okay. Because it seems to have given us our summary here. I thought it was making us wait until the timer that it set was up, but it's not. We're just waiting. This is where you guys fill me up with great questions. Yeah, this is your part. Let's go, let's go. I'm going to get ChatGPT to create me 100 silence fillers for this webinar, and I'll just get them printed on index cards. So when this sort of thing happens, I can just be, did you know? Oh, actually, one thing I'd like to brag. Can I brag? I've got a second. If you do a search for who is a famous AI expert, it's not going to do it now. That would teach me for bragging. Yeah, that would teach me for bragging. Anyway, the other day, it was talking about me. Well, no more bragging for me then. I'll maybe I'll search for something different. Let me turn it into a question. There we go. Okay. A famous AI. So this is Google's AI is confirming that I am now an expert. I love it. I love it. So I've been doing this search since the beginning of time, and tweaking my website and so forth, and I finally made it the other day. So really cool. Okay, so now this has created our it's in Superbase, but what we're going to do is check the src lib file. Well, it's actually not. That's probably why it didn't update it, because it's not in src, because it's an app, not a website. So it's in app lib superbase.ts, and it's using OKG, and the code is OKG, so that's great. And I'm presuming this key is correct. I'm not. Oh no, it says it's a placeholder. So we're going to replace this key with the correct key and save. And so then we're done. We have an app that we can test on our iPhone. We can go, once it's finished building here, we'll click on the device button. And if you want to get your phones ready, if you've got Expo installed, you'll be able to install this app directly on your phone. If you haven't done that before, it's kind of cool. You do need Expo Go installed on your phone. Vincent, while we're waiting, has a question. In my app that is white label, I provide messaging in the web app between admin and users. These messages are only on the platform at the moment. Can I give every admin a Mailgun integration to deliver as email. Wait. Yeah, so you would ask, if I'm reading this right, you want the admins of your app, for their own version of your app, to enter their own Mailgun information. So if that's the case, then yes, you would do it very similar to how Superbase does it. So under authentication and email, Superbase asks for these pieces of information, and you would ask for the same. Sender's email, sender's name. The host would always be Mailguns. You could hard code all of that part, but then the Mailgun SMTP username and password you would then put into there. And so that's how you would create that admin screen for each of your admins. You would create it once, and each of your admins would fill it in with that information. All right, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Why doesn't Famous.AI tools show a pop-up asking you to get these kinds of keys? I don't know the real answer to that, Roger, but I do know they're moving away from the Superbase integration to Famous DB, and so you don't need any of that. And so they no longer seem to, and I don't know if this is true. This is just what I feel. They no longer seem to be developing for Superbase and focusing on Famous DB, which is a great business model for them. And so that's why it's not giving me a nice little, hey, what's the project ID and what's the anon key. So yeah, so that's that. I had not chosen a domain at that point. I was in the process of selecting a domain name because, okay, so if you didn't have a domain, you wouldn't have been able to set up the mail settings in the first place because you had no domain to attach to it. So the only time you needed to do that was when you had a domain. So yeah, that sounds like why it asks you to do it again, because now you've got a domain and it wants the right information. So yeah, that makes sense. All right, so let's go ahead and press this device button and it will generate our QR code. If you are ready with your camera scanner, here is my phone booting up my app. Now that app we just developed is here on my phone and will function in exactly the same way. It says I've got 8 hours and 5. Where's my camera? 8 hours and 5 minutes left to do it, which is correct. It will only allow me to type 100 words. There is no streak just yet, so let me put in webinar day and save. Okay, saved it. Now it's asking me to create an account, but I already have an account, so let's see if it will let me log in. Oh wait, I created that account on Superbase, on Famous database, so I need to do that again. AI app.builders, because the accounts that were previously set up wouldn't have transferred over, so we need to create a new account. And create account. And boom, I'm now logged in Superbase. I've got a little settings icon at the top here. I can unlock premium. That's come up with the thing, and now it's ready to connect to RevenueCat on Monday. Now, let's quickly, I'll do this live while I've got you, create the webinar for Monday, and we're going to call it the Devon Special RevenueCat webinar, and it is going to be on the 26th at 3 p.m. Central. It's going to be an hour. I'm going to put it in for an hour and 30 minutes because it's possibly going to be longer than that. It's not recurring. Registration is required. Authentication requires a password. Video for hosts needs to be on. Audio can be both. Questions and answers. And we want to enable HD sharing so you don't complain that it's blurry. Automatically record the webinar in the cloud. Approve. And then everybody can use the chat. All right. Schedule. And invitations, copy. All right, let's see. How many people are we going to get registered at the end of this webinar? There is Monday's RevenueCat webinar. 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. See you there. While that is doing that, let's go back here and just check some things out on our screen here. Let me make this a bit bigger so I can sign in and sign in with where's my email? Oh, here it is. Oh no, that's create account. Okay, so sign in doesn't go to sign in, it goes to create an account. We need to fix that. Email is not confirmed. All right, so for now, what we're going to do is actually switch off email confirmations under sign in and switch off email confirmation and save changes. No, it probably still won't let me log in because yeah, because that email is still wanting to be confirmed. So let's go check my email and see if I can find. It's probably going to be in junk if it gets sent from Superbase. No, I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay, what we'll do is we'll go into Superbase, into users. Oh, we've got a few people sign up. If you guys have the same issue, I'll need to delete your account. You need to sign up again just because I had the confirmation email thing not set up before we got this far. All right, so sign in, and then we want to sign in with that email. And this password, create account, boom, there we go. Now we're signed in, and I want a free account. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Save. Oh, there we go. Now it's got me a 1-day streak. So it actually fixed that. In moving it over to Superbase, it fixed that whole streak scenario, which is great. And then export PDF. Let's see if that works. It does. There is our PDF of my testing 1, 2, 3. That's kind of cute. Pin protection. Okay, so now it's it's got PIN protection, it's got a version number, it's got our terms of service. Excuse me, terms of service doesn't go anywhere, privacy policy doesn't go anywhere. So we'll need to fix those before it goes into the App Store. But there we are. Now, if I refresh this page, now it's asking me for my PIN code. So this is working great. It's a cute little app that we wrote in just less than an hour. So there we go. All right, Gwendolyn, save that question for Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Bring it with you. Copy it, post it somewhere, and paste it back in first thing Friday. Because we have to get on. I have another call back to back on this one, and so I will see you on Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern is my App Legends webinar for Famous, and so more of the same good stuff. And then Monday, we have the club webinar, and then straight after the club webinar, we have the RevenueCat special Devon webinar. So see you guys soon. Have a great night. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.